Well, people often say that the United States is headed towards the way of Brazil, and in
It would be an
Brazil,
improvement.
they recently elected Bolsonaro, who is a military affiliated law and order guy. I'm sure you remember this, but he
He got
actually got
stabbed.
stabbed, yeah, during the campaign. Had to have a couple surgeries and he was out for a few weeks and he came back to win. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw an interview with him. I thought he was great.
Yeah, he has some really great video out there, but he has
Yes, he
not
was the
even
flag tepish of Brazil.
he hasn't even taken office yet. And I showed you a video earlier of a crime in progress, which was a young, unarmed, and innocent, oppressed youth had grabbed an old woman and was walking her down the street to rob her.
And a gun miraculously materialized in his hand, right?
Well,
He
I
probably put
mean, it's your opinion that he was holding a gun.
Right.
I
It
don't
wasn't
know.
through his agency.
I don't
It
really
just
know that has to do with the story. Come on. He's an innocent, unarmed youth. But the police were on the scene. They took him down. They just shot him, and I think the old woman fell down, and they took their chance and just started firing and
and shot him a couple more
shot him
times
a
where
couple
he
more
lived.
times. Yeah, they
Good.
wanted him to stay out, and so the next immediately the people around started clapping, cheering. It's really heartwarming ending for me.
But the people in America, if there was any YouTube commentary, they were probably saying that this was excessive force, right?
There were American comments, which sure looked like to me, English, American English comments saying, well, why did the police shoot him? Don't you think they could have taken them peacefully? And isn't that excessive force? And this is how fascism starts, and on and on. And all I could think of was that actually I have family in South America, and I have a relative who was killed in a robbery very similar to this one, killed for her social security check. And I don't know how anyone could picture their own grandmother getting grabbed by someone and think that that person deserves anything other than immediate death sentence. It's just no problem
Oh,
at all for me.
it's the upward welling of the slave mentality, okay, in America. People in America and the rest of the world, they yearn to be slaves. They yearn to be owned by somebody else. The best thing you can hope for is a huge out of control crime wave, 3 times as bad as what you have in Baltimore City, in the worst neighborhoods, all over America, which will wipe out the people who think this way or change their minds, preferably change their minds right as they're dying, right as they're being wiped out.
Get
So,
repentance.
right, so, right. And it's just when you live in a fantasy land for that long, but the whole, society in decline imitates the underclass. The underclass value in American cities, has now percolated up into the suburbs. And that's where most of the people live. And the value has always been, it was expressed by somebody on Tacky Mag, I think, as the Chuck Norris rule, where Chuck Norris and Walker, Texas Ranger, wouldn't draw his gun, even though he's a wrestling officer, if the criminal wanted to duke it out with him. And then he beat him up with his karate, Tang Soo Do. So the idea is this guy was only dragging that woman. He didn't shoot that woman 4 times in the chest. He doesn't deserve any more than he gave to the woman. So the only thing that the cops are supposed to do, according to the sissy mentality, is drag him around, just like he did with the woman. That's it. It's a limp dick. It's a limp dick, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, patty cake for a patty cake. I don't know how. And it started out with the fact that when black men used to fight each other in the streets in Baltimore, or other poor men used to do it, if there were people with no social consequence, the cops didn't care if these 2 guys beat the shit out of each other. They only cared if they went after women and children and respected men and stuff like that. If 2 reprobates beat each other up, they didn't care. Okay, so there's not supposed to be any escalation of force. If I'm attacked by 3 men that are half my age, I'm just supposed to try to do to them what they're trying to do to me. Of course, it's not going to work for me because I'm an older dude and I'm small. If I use a knife or a gun or something, according to most people in this sick, degenerate country of ours, then I'm the bad guy. Then I
But
used excessive force.
how can a person watch that video and who are they identifying with? Maybe they're identifying with a cop. Because when I watch that video, I see my mother, my grandmother, or someday I will be old and frail like that. And or when you would tell your stories about you were walking around town with a cane and these guys were eyeing you as a victim.
I got attacked 3 times more often when I had a cane
Right.
than when I didn't
So
have a cane.
that makes me just 100 times more angry than another type of crime. When people are going after the elderly and the weak, to me that's already forfeit. You do that, you're done. You don't get another chance. So if you watch this video and you think, oh, that's a good way of committing crime, go after the old and the elderly, or oh, that could be me or my mom or my grandma, or you think, oh, I'm the cop, I'm the powerful person. If I were that powerful, I would just take him away to try to put some kind of justice.
Most people would say that he should have shot that guy in the hand and knocked his gun out. And why? Because this is a TV, movie, video game culture. About the only thing that anybody in America has ever learned has been through these entertainment mediums, and you're constantly seeing guns being shot out of hands, people being winged, a big guy with a knife having some little dude take the knife out of his hand. All this martial arts and gunmanship bullshit just to do. These things are almost impossible to do with stunts when they stage them. So, like some of these knife scenes that they do in these movies, guys have been blinded and stabbed just trying to stage this shit. It doesn't work. Most of the people in this country, their view of violence is completely the opposite of reality.
It's like from some kind of omnipotent position where if you're a policeman with a gun, then you can surgically manage these.
Star Trek, the original series, Star Trek. Okay, how many times did you see Captain Kirk karate chop somebody on the neck and he goes down, or Spock like pinch somebody in the neck and he goes down?
Right.
Well,
right.
This has been continued through all of the retread television and movie stuff that's going since then, and it's much older than that. It went with just a detective hero in a 1930s movie, just like bapping a guy on top of the head with his with
butt of the pistol or something.
Butt of the pistol, and the guy goes away. I mean, this is ridiculous. I have really beat the shit out of people. Okay, I mean, I have hit people as hard as I can for as long as I can. Okay, and they still haven't gone away. One of my fighters was recently attacked by a couple of innocent, unarmed youths that were, towering 6'1" specimens of misappropriated musculature. Okay, and he just threw a couple punches. He stopped one and he dropped the other one. He was shocked. He was like, "Wow, I didn't feel like I hit him that hard." I said, "Well, most people can't take a high level of contact, and you're used to dealing with dudes that you can hit them all day, and you get this guy 200 times." Well, so when it comes to criminals, so those guys right there, they're maybe not going to make a life out of beating up random people on the street because it didn't work out for them, because they can't take it. But once your criminals get to be like 30 years old, they're all tough bastards, okay, because they've already gone through this trial process. All right, you're essentially dealing with a larcenous athlete when you're dealing with these criminals and stuff. These aren't people that I talk to cops that have ruined their batons trying to stop dudes.
It depends, but you could shoot a guy a bunch of times and not stop him. That happens all the time.
But most people, they grew up on TV, video games, and movies.
Well, maybe I'm kind of a primitive, but when I see a guy like that dragging away an old woman, I just think he deserves more than being shot, and it's not a trial.
Oh yeah, he definitely deserves some Stone Age justice.
Hey, look at it this way. That young man gave his life so that others may watch the video and learn that that's the wrong thing to do.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Right.
If you're a bleeding heart, Okay, if you didn't pump your fist in the air like I did when
I
I
did.
saw it.
I watched it several times.
And you know what? People on the street, I saw the video. They're clapping.
Yeah. They're cheering
No,
and clapping, and yeah.
not in America. In America, they're screaming that the guy didn't have a gun when he did have a gun. Okay.
Hands up, don't shoot. Right.
Oh, where you live in the land of the lie. Okay, everything's upside down here.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I enjoyed watching it almost as much as the African chick dancing. Actually, if I could have seen the African chick dancing over that dead body, that would have been great. Okay, all right.
Yeah. That's what you do
You could
after the battle.
Yeah, it would be a much more decent world if when you went into the ghetto and somebody attacked you and you killed them, one of the local girls would come out and do like a dance for you. Okay, I mean it would be a much better world.
Yeah. Maybe someday, James.
But in our world, okay, they dance for the criminal.